The tears came to her eyes unexpectedly. She hadn't intended to cry. They just appeared. She blinked them away as she continued to stare at the happy couple on the screen. Aaron's mind drifted to the engagement party announcement in the hospital's weekly newsletter. It had solidified Marari and Arathi Rana as a couple. It had described the relationship as one based on pure love and Hindu tradition. Their impending marriage had been an arranged one. It had been a labor of love involving the combined efforts of two royal Indian families. Arathi Rana came from a long line of Indian surgeons. She graduated from a prestigious university in Europe. Aaron stopped thinking. Her mind went blank as she watched Marari's name and the cell number flash across the tiny screen she held in her hand. It displaced the images she had been looking at. The interruption sent her body into a state of panic. Her fingers instinctively moved to accept the incoming call, but her mind screamed out a warning. No, don't do it. Be strong. Make him suffer. Aaron's hands trembled. She wanted to take the call. She wanted to hear him beg for forgiveness. She wanted to hear his voice, the words pleading for a second chance at her love. But she was afraid. What if that was not why he was calling? What if he was reaching out to her for another reason? Suppose he was simply feeling guilty and this was a pity call. Or worse, what if this was the booty call Ileana warned her about? Aaron thought she could not permit him to use her, to satisfy some sexual lust he had and then go home to his fiancée. No, she wouldn't be that woman. She couldn't let herself become that desperate. Aaron reminded herself that she was a renowned black cardiothoracic surgeon who saved lives. She was a surgical asset to Penn's Landing Memorial Hospital. She was a part of Scrub, the elite female organization which empowered medical doctors when the world had not been ready for the cultural change which allowed women to practice medicine. Aaron disconnected the call with a shaky hand. She looked around her room and for the first time realized how filthy it was. Chinese takeout cartons were everywhere. Styrofoam soul food containers lay half open on her dresser and littered the floor. Aluminum trays of Indian cuisine lined her desk. She stared at the baby blue scrubs which were strewn everywhere. They hung from the open door frame of her bedroom. They draped a full-length mirror, and they carpeted the entire floor of her stylish apartment. She cringed. When had she become this despicable? She counted the empty liquor bottles piled high throughout the room. She dreaded recycling. What would her neighbors think? She had to be discreet when she put the trash out. No one needed to be alarmed by her alcoholic escapades. No, that wouldn't be wise. Aaron lifted the vodka bottle to her vision. She stared at it. For one quick moment, she thought about bringing it to her lips. The taste was still in her mouth. The desire to take another drink was strong, but she thought about all of the sacrifices she had made to get to this point in her career. She thought about the many people who believed in her. She thought about her family, her mother, her father, her daddy. He was a strong, independent thinking sanitation worker who had donated his life and money to the welfare and happiness of his children. He would have been ashamed if he knew the life she had been living for the past weeks. He would have rushed over to her apartment and given her a lecture that would have embarrassed even the strongest of men in her family. No, Erin Simpkins did not want to disgrace her family. She did not want to continue sobbing over a man who obviously did not value or respect her. Erin was tempted to hurl the half-empty bottle across the room, but instead, she recapped it and gently stood it up on her nightstand. She surveyed the room and decided it was time to return to the real world. It was time to accept the truth about Murari Varadaraj, and it was time to start healing.